Welcome to this overview of custom properties for API, a new feature introduced in API Management 7.6.2. API Manager allows for the customization extension of the client registry by allowing customers to define additional custom attributes for organizations, applications, and users. For 7.6.2, API Manager has been enhanced to define custom properties for APIs also. I will quickly step up through the configuration to be able to activate custom properties for an API. If I click on an API, in this case Pet Store V2, if I go to API, on the API screen you would have had the ability to add tags for the API, which is used to essentially group them in your catalog. To enable custom properties, you need to modify the app.config file, which is located in the installation directory, API Gateway, Web Apps, API Portal, Vordel, API Portal, App. Here is an example of the snippet of custom properties in JSON format that could be inserted into the app.config file. This is currently exactly what I'm using. I have my app.config file already configured. Once it's been saved, all you need to do is actually refresh the UI in API Manager by hitting Ctrl F5. If you look now, you'll have additional attributes available for the API. In this case, I have 3 custom properties, one with a string field, the second with a drop-down option, and the third with a toggle or a switch. Custom attributes also provide the ability for you to query these via policy through properties. So I'm just going to demonstrate invoking the API. API methods. I'll select the method I want to test. The API has been invoked successfully. If we look at API Gateway Manager, we can see the transaction in the real-time monitoring window. I can click on the transaction, and in the trace output, you should be able to see the custom property that was added for this API. Both properties are actually showing up because they both had values. I'll just go back to the screen where the custom properties are defined. If you add your custom properties to the app.config file, the first time you will see your properties will have 0 values. Those need to be defined per API, depending on the number of APIs you might have in your catalog. Currently, there is no default value supported, meaning that when you add a custom property, the field will be blank for you to enter it. Only until you enter it will the property be pushed into the Cassandra data store, where it can be used. I also would like to point out that for high availability deployments in the classic deployment mode, all instances of API Manager in a group will have to be modified with app.config to have consistency across the user interfaces. It's also important to point out that methods do not support custom properties, so the methods for an API do not support custom properties. And for upgrades, app config is not upgraded. You will need to configure those again post-upgrade. This concludes the short video overview of custom properties for APIs in API Manager 7.6.2. Thank you for watching.